Hi there everybody, this is David, and we have some new news in regards to the HD2D remakes and the style of remakes, and how often Square Enix is going to be using that style. And I do want to tell you all about that today in today's video, and I do think that that's worth a sub, as I do try my hardest to hit 100,000 subscribers. And with your help, your like, and your sub, I just know that I can get there. So, thank you so much for that. Just like y'all, I am a huge fan of the HD2D games, which first started with Octopath Traveler, then it moved on over to Triangle Strategy, we even got the Live Alive remake, and now we're getting the Dragon Quest III games. And yeah, the HD2D style is hugely freaking popular with me and with y'all, and it seems to be popular not only here in the West, but also over in Japan and pretty much worldwide. I personally love it, and I cannot wait to see more games in this style too. However, somebody out there doesn't really seem to like that style, and that is unfortunately Square Enix. Bloomberg is reporting that Square Enix is currently hesitant about flooding the market with way too many HD2D games. So yeah, this is actually coming from the producer of the Dragon Quest III HD2D remake. Basically, they asked him if he would be taking this opportunity to remake other Dragon Quest games using this same engine. Not meaning, you know, Dragon Quest 1 and 2, because those are already announced, but more of the games, like the Zenithon trilogy. Are you going to be making the Zenithon trilogy in HD2D as well? And he replied by saying that that is currently a sensitive topic at Square Enix, which even his supervisors are unsure of and they're constantly mulling over. And I quote, "If we were to release too many games in succession, that would lead to people being bored of those games. On the flip side, if there's too much of a span between the launches, that can also lead to the series not seeming as vibrant and robust anymore. It is a sensitive topic. It is something that even my supervisors are constantly unsure of and are mulling over." So, yeah, kind of bad news. That to me is saying like they're going to slow down on the HD2Ds, even though as far as I'm concerned, they haven't really released all that many, and I say open the floodgates. Let them all come pouring out. Once you're done with 3, 1, and 2, then move on to 4, 5, and 6. Move on to the Zenithon trilogy, and go ahead and redo 7 too, because why not? It's kind of in that same SNES style anyway. Then there's some other games that just kind of lend themselves to HD2D that I would love to see. And the most obvious one to me is Final Fantasy Tactics. That was already kind of leaked in the NVIDIA leak. We pretty much know that we're going to be getting it. It was just delayed because the poor sales of Tactics Ogre Reborn. They put out Tactics Ogre Reborn because they wanted to like test the waters on strategy RPGs and see if they would do well, and it didn't. Not because Tactics Ogre Reborn was terrible or anything, but just because they released way too many games at the same time. It was ridiculous. So yeah, I think that making Final Fantasy Tactics in HD2D is a total no-brainer. I mean, they did Triangle Strategy in the exact same style. They could use that same engine, for God's sakes, if they needed to. And everybody loved Triangle Strategy. Everybody really adored that game. So I think that Final Fantasy Tactics in that same way would be great. Then they have some SNES games that are just kind of languishing over in Japan. We've never gotten them. Despite them being hugely popular in Japan, we never actually received them. And SNES games just lend themselves to becoming HD2D games so easily. There's the Treasure of the Rudras, which is so freaking cool. If you've never heard of it, it was a Japanese-only release. And basically you play as 3 different characters as they are trying to stop the world from ending. It's like every 1,000 or so years the world ends, and then it like is reborn or whatever, and it's like a week before the end of the world, and it's a really cool like environmental destruction type of story. It actually is kind of almost, to me, with the environment and all that, kind of like a precursor to Final Fantasy VII, which came out shortly after Treasure of the Rudras. And there's also a really cool magic system in it too, where you use words and you can like build your own spells. Like you could be reading a book and it could be like, hey, you know, the healing spell is left, but then there's this suffix and you put na at the end of it and it's lefta, and then it heals everybody in the party rather than left just being like, you know, a single target heal. It's really freaking cool, and it's like that for all sorts of different spells. It's really neat, and you can like play with one character and learn those spells on them, and then move over to a different scenario with a different character, and then put those spells on those characters. It's just so cool as you traverse the world with all these characters and stuff. It's amazing, and I'm shocked that we still haven't gotten that. And then another one is Bahamut Lagoon. Like, where is Bahamut Lagoon? That is a strategy RPG, just in the same way as something like Final Fantasy Tactics, except, like, it's in the sky. The music is fan-freaking-tastic. The graphics are beautiful. The story is, like, unforgettable. I love it. The characters are great. It has environmental destruction, like you can like burn down the forests and freeze the rivers and stuff. Like, that to me is another no-brainer. Then another game that I brought up kind of recently is Lufia 2. Square Enix owns the rights for Lufia 2. Why don't we get that in HD2D? That would be so freaking amazing. Imagine these puzzles in HD2D. Imagine, you know, the wedding in HD2D. Imagine all these different things, and imagine just kind of expanding the Lufia universe. Another cool thing that they could do with Lufia, because there's Lufia 2, and then that's the prequel to Lufia 1, they could release that as a bundle, both games together, and remake them both in HD2D and put them together. I think that that would just be fantastic. I would personally love that, but it seems like Square's wanting to slow down on these HD2D games and maybe only release like one a year, but like they barely even started with them and they're already kind of slowing them down. So that's rather unfortunate if I do say so myself. Now, that being said, not every single game needs to be remade in HD2D. I do think that there are some other games that definitely deserve, I don't want to say a higher quality of remake, but just a different style. And I think that Chrono Trigger is a game that deserves a different style of remake. Like a cel-shaded style, kind of like the Dragon Quest VIII style, or the style that they've been using for Trials of Mana and Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven. They should put that team in charge of remaking Chrono Trigger. That would just be amazing. Imagine like an open region-ish Chrono Trigger where you can actually see the world in front of you as you're going through. You can see the world changing as you go through the various times and everything. Like, the overworld isn't just like a top-down. You can see it from your character's perspective and everything. Like, just imagine what that would look like in that cel-shaded style. Another cool thing that they could do is remake in that same style Final Fantasy 4 through 6. I would definitely love to see 4 through 6 in HD2D, but something tells me they're going to do those a little bit better since we just did get Pixel remasters. They might put those into a different style, a different cel-shaded style, or just something different for them. I think that would be nice. But then again, we did just see that article about them wanting to remake 6 in HD2D, so who really knows? This is all just very exciting, and I just wanted to bring this information to you. It is kind of sad news, but it is news, and it's news about some of my favorite games. So now I want to know from y'all in the comments, how do you feel about this? Let me know. Let's all talk and chat about it, and as always, have a good day.